Hello there, viewer, and welcome back to Semi-Qualified Ironman Impossible. You may already notice that there's something different about this intro, and that's because this episode is abridged. In a bit of a different style, it's post-commentated, tightly edited, and a couple of other things. I felt like I had to experiment with this a little bit. I am going to release the full episode, but I also wanted to make a version in the style that some of you may possibly be familiar with. This is Semi-Qualified Ironman Impossible. And based on that title, it's probably not the best idea to be looking at this series for advice, but if you have found something helpful in all of this mess, well, I'm really glad I could be of some help. But about strategy, this mission is not. This is 100% raw action, and, maybe some humor if I can manage that. Anyway, enough talk. Let's go on Operation Enduring Summer, a small scout that has landed off the coast of Mexico. Let's see what this mission has in store. Off the bat, we opened on a beautiful forest, which seems to be a very popular landing site for the aliens. I don't know what that's all about. Maybe trees are parking signs on their planet. With my first move, I head on up the ridge to get some elevation and maybe even some sight on any aliens. But that's kind of what we're hoping not to do on the first move. I toss my scanner out into the middle of nowhere to see if there's any contact, and I am met with not much of a surprise. Yes, it appears the Floater 5 and their mighty Muton pal are on guard duty today, and it's our job to relieve them of duty, mostly with explosive force. The first move for most of my engagements is if the pod stays still, blow it up, and that's exactly what I try to do. It's pretty good advice, I think, unless you don't want Valen yelling at you.
Commander, think of the corpses, yeah!
But we've been at this campaign 60 episodes or so I think I'm good to start blowing up aliens at this point. Unfortunately, the trees appear to be blocking my rocket's ability to kill, so I decide to try and move around to alleviate that, bringing us to the first mistake of this episode.
I'm on the move. Hostiles spotted.
Yes, even with line of sight indicators, I still manage to ignore my cursor and don't realize that Masako has to run around the tree to get to that new position so that she might have a shot. And now she has a shot, but it's not with a rocket, and it's also in half cover, which is something you really don't want to be in unless you're a tanky assault or just nobody else. Just don't be in half cover. Our only choice now is to find any cover available, which is a lot of half cover, and start taking shots. I move Black Monk up to flank the floaters, and he takes his shot and tries to get a kill. But unfortunately, no such luck. The floater is still alive. I throw down smoke to make half cover a little more tantalizing, and although he is a tanky assault and supposed to be taking hits, it's still good to make sure that the hits that he is taking have a low chance of making it to his fleshy interior. I move the rest of my squad into what full cover is available, and start taking shots with whoever I can. Now, David Rice doesn't have a great shot, but a coin flip is still better than nothing in my opinion, especially when you're sitting this far back. It's a no-go, but I can't really complain. Next, I move my snapshot sniper into half cover, which should hopefully be out of the way of any aliens, and prepare to take a shot with her. I try to take out one of the floaters with her, and luckily her aim is a bit better than David Rice's.
He's down.
Oh, and her stopping power is a bit higher too. Next, we move Dale Watson up to Scout, with huge parentheses around that word, and maybe take a shot with his Deadeye shotgun. Even though he doesn't have concealment and he's out in the open, it's still probably going to be more tempting for the aliens to shoot at Black Monk, because he's in half cover and has low defense because of his armor thingy. We take the shot and move back to Masako again, who wisely hunkers down because she's the only one in half cover in sight of an alien. This leaves Justin Simons to suppress one of the two aliens he can see, and I pick the floater for his target, because it's probably going to run. That leaves Heather Williams to suppress the Muton and hope she doesn't get hit through full cover smoke, which I've seen happen. After wisely choosing to continue the mission, we let the aliens take their turn. The Muton takes his first shot, which is a 1% chance to hit, which is no skin off Heather Williams' nose. The floater makes a run for it as predicted, and Justin Simons makes the kill shot he's been waiting for. The other floater runs away as he's flanked and a coward, and the other two decide to take shots at, you guessed it, Black Monk. The first one's a miss, but the second floater's just a bit luckier. Unfortunately for the floater, he shot a very tanky individual with at least 6 inches of armor. I don't know, I don't count. Next, we do what we were supposed to do last turn, which is rocket all the aliens in a group, And by that I mean rocket a Muton in full cover, because obviously it's a slow day here at the office. Now this rocket doesn't have great potential, but I believe that it can take out some full cover. Or, you know, miss entirely and leave his cover almost completely intact. Either way's just fine. Next, Rice takes another shot, which is substantially better than the last, seeing as he's had time to steady his large weapon, and takes that lucky floater out of the sky. Strike out the word lucky and then replace it with dead, and you've got yourself a deal. Next, Dale Watson applies some holo targeting to the floater you see above, so our sniper has a pretty reliable shot to take it down. And that's exactly what Vera Mora does. Ah, you can't win them all. I would say Ranger Danger, but she's got that perk and VPT, which really isn't a huge help because I can't autopsy floaters. Next, Black Monk moves in for the flank on the Muton, which is why his cover's not such a big deal. Unfortunately, we don't really have anyone who can back up Black Monk, so now we need a way to make this Muton run scared. And Justin Simons has just the answer. Whoa, 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 what are you doing? No, suppress him, don't holo target him. Do you actually think you're going to be able to hit him with a coin flip after that? I really doubt it. Yeah, good try, but I probably would have suppressed looking back on that move. Luckily, we still got suppression with Heather Williams and Smoke, and I don't know if double suppression actually makes a difference. I feel like it should, but I don't know. I could be crazy. I don't know every rule to this game. Wisely, I decide not to run Adonis Smith out in the middle of nowhere to flank a Muton, and continue the mission as before. This time, the aliens have different plans. Namely, running away from an Overwatch opportunist and getting shot in the back. But hey, I am not their strategist. That's probably some ethereal IT guy flying above in an overseer telling the aliens what to do. The other floater runs away to join his brother, and things are quiet for a little while. We finally get to move people into full cover who need it, and we move Black Monk back to take some cover away and maybe give the aliens a chance to fly at us one by one. After spotting some unfair roof meld and kind of foaming at the mouth a bit, we send our concealment scout ahead, and he reloads on a rock.
Ready to rock.
Hey. Again, our situation's not bad enough to abort, so especially not one sniper, and we wait for the aliens to come at us again.
What the hell was that?
And it looks like they're not gonna do that. So we run our concealment scout up to see just what we're dealing with. And it looks like the aliens have, oh my god. Seriously, another Tri-Zerker pod? This is the second one we've seen on these landed scouts. What is it with these Zerker trios? Are they workout buddies or something? You gotta have someone to spot you, I guess, when you're bench pressing corpses or doing whatever they do to get those massive gains. Now, I was pretty lucky with this activation. If I hadn't moved Black Monk back, we would have had to face these guys this turn. And since we don't have a rocket steadied, that's the first thing I do this turn. We are not moving a muscle. We are getting everybody in position as well equipped to deal with these things as possible. We have nowhere to run. There are other active aliens on the map. We have no choice but to take them out in one turn. Now, the way I would normally do that is chem first, shred second, and shoot last. A lot. Shoot a lot. Unfortunately, we don't have chem yet. We're just a few days out. I think they're still testing that one in the lab. No, this time we have to shred, then shoot, and hope that they cluster. So far, our Overwatch shots seem to be hit and miss, but hopefully as they delve deeper into our ranks, they'll get hit a lot more. With a 41% from Adonis Smith, the hits are good, but they are not too good. These Berserkers still have a lot of health that we need to get through if we want to take them out this turn. Holding your ground against 3 Berserkers is difficult, to say the least, especially with 2 other Mutons pointing their big scary guns at you. The first thing we gotta do is move our scout out of the way, possibly into a position he can help us out later by holo targeting or shotgunning one of those Zerkers, and shredding the ever-loving life out of those monstrosities. We have to make sure that every shot lands, every shot gets as much damage in as possible, and a shred is the perfect way to do that. We have to ignore the Mutons and their big guns today, but we can handle these Berserkers and their big guns right now. And with a charge that lags my computer to high heaven, we take our first shot of the turn, which does not a lot of damage. That big guy seems to have some perks that might make him tanky. Shock absorbent armor, anyone? That one, not so much. But unfortunately for Dale Watson, after getting his shot off, he kind of loses his nerve. But that's not the worst part about Panic. It's the spread of Panic that you have to worry about. And Vera Mora loses her lunch when she sees that giant meatbag run at Dale Watson, which is unfortunate for me because I really needed that sniper shot on those berserkers. And I guess we just have to soldier on then. Black Monk takes a shot at the big guy because he's probably our greatest threat. Now this big guy scares Black Monk too, which sucks because he had a second shot he could have gotten off and a close combat specialist. With our options running low, it starts to become clear that somebody might be taking a hit to the face. The Muhammad Ali Express, as I like to call it. Justin Simons bravely aims his gun at the big guy in an attempt to drag him away from the more vulnerable troops. And it works. And hopefully we won't have 4 panics in a row, my god. Well, somebody's definitely taken the hard hit to the face today. And now we just have to go on damage control, take out as many of these monsters as we possibly can. David Rice aims his rifle at the biggest guy close to him and takes a shot. Looks like David Rice isn't having any of these berserkers nonsense today, but unfortunately his other shot is kind of terrible, so I decided to save his usefulness for later. Adonis Smith can also only see the big guy. That other little guy is blocked by the tree, so hopefully Heather Williams can take this guy down. She's our only hope. Oh god, don't panic, Williams. That would pretty much be game over. Oh, thank goodness. These things have really high chances to panic me, and that kind of worries me. I'm very far away from Psy, and that's just something I need to work on in the coming months. Now this Zerker gets his last move, but decides that hiding behind the tree is his best bet. And he's right. I can't see it with Rice or Adonis Smith. So we've got 2 active berserkers on the next turn, something you really don't want, especially when they're right in the middle of all your soldiers. And unfortunately, the big one takes the overwatch shot from Adonis we so sorely needed. That leaves 1 to handle the little guy. But for Simons, it looks like it's all over. As the cutscene plays, I figure Simons is done for, and I don't think much of it. I figured that was a dead soldier and moved on. I was grief-stricken. Unfortunately, the game goes on, and David Rice takes a pretty hard hit to the face. But again, David Rice is not in the mood to play around, and takes the final berserker out in a blaze of laser that I really needed today. Unfortunately, we're a soldier down. Or so I thought. In the coming turn, I moved back to check on that big berserker and see what we could do about him, and realized that Simons was quite alive. In fact, he was on 1 health, panicked, and probably crapping his pants. Either from the impact or loss of brain function. Yeah, I've seen babies hit harder. Oh god, is that my spine? So, yeah, now I immediately run Black Monk up to start handling this guy. I mean, geez, my soldier survived a hit from a King Zerker. That's a story that's gonna get passed around the barracks for as long as this campaign keeps going. Good on you, Justin Simons. Unfortunately, this is about the point I realized this thing has shock absorbent armor because my shotgun blasts keep doing very little damage. Luckily, Black Monk doesn't panic again, and luckily we also have a remedy for shock absorbent armor. Shoot it from a distance, which Heather Williams is happy to do. With all the berserkers down, all we can do is hope that the mutons don't kick our ass while we're vulnerable. We smoke everybody else, especially our panicked scout in half cover with no low profile. That's kind of a big target for the mutons, and we want to make sure that he becomes less of a target. Williams reloads her weapon, and the sniper tries to take that muton down. Which she actually kind of manages to do, a little bit. It might be enough to scare him, but without red fog, it's not realistic. Black Monk bravely hides himself behind a tree, and we move on to the alien turn. It appears the muton with sight on us decides to run himself away, which is lucky because it gives us some time to breathe. But I'm really not one to breathe. So I decided to move my concealment scout up just after he's done panicking to check out what's going on. There's a lone muton just begging to get sniped. Vera Mora decides to take her shot at the exposed muton, and she more than delivers a hit right to his backside, or front side now, I guess. He was not facing us before, but things change when you're getting shot. Now, we can finally get some rest we need. Justin Simons is still freaking out behind the same rock he was punched behind. I should probably get him out of there and into some therapy. Physical and mental. Justin Simons needs to heal up. But maybe because of the minor brain damage, or he's just a really good guy, he heals Black Monk instead of himself. Maybe he figures that at 1 health, another 3 health isn't gonna help him survive any more shots. Which is probably right. I should definitely keep him to the back of the squad. We hear alien contact inside the UFO, and decide to throw a scan in there to see just where our little friends are hiding.
Scanning target area now.
As it turns out, everyone who was unaccounted for is sitting in the UFO having a party with the outsider. Now, it's our job to wait and see what these aliens do in the coming turn, whether or not we can take them out one by one. As it would happen, the aliens kinda like it in their cozy little UFO, except for the restless Muton. He kinda just wants to come out and shoot some faces again. The floaters, however, are not willing to follow him. It's a sad day for the Floater 5. They've been cut down 3 members into a twosome, so I can understand them staying back in grief. Now, my sniper doesn't have a shot on the Muton, which I think is weird, but in reality isn't that weird because trees suck. They block line of sight like YouTube blocks copyrighted content.
Hey, no, wait, stop, what are you doing? Turn it off!
So we really don't have any chances this turn. Even moving up doesn't provide us any more line of sight, so I just kind of give up on the whole thing and wait another turn and cover. We prepare a rocket in case all of them decide to charge us at once, and put Simons in a more fortified position. And we even managed to convince him a little healing might go a long way. But in reality, that's not the case. He's very fragile still, and we can't really use him on the front lines. Good thing he has that LMG. The aliens begin to move in further. And luckily for us, the Muton decides to run out in the middle of nowhere, so he's an easy sniper shot. The floaters finally decide to come out of the UFO, their grief overcome, now replaced with feelings of vengeance, probably directed at my squad. As the aliens roar in defiance, I line my sniper up to... Oh no. No! The trees block my line of sight again! I still don't have a shot. And now it's kind of a toss-up as to whether I should move out and shoot them. And it turns out that pays off, because I have a sort of okay shot against them. Well, dang, if I stay here and shoot, then I could possibly get shot if they come forward the next turn. But I decide that they're too far away to get a single move in and shoot my sniper, so I go ahead and risk the shot. And luckily for me, Vera Mora is on point today. I think that panic earlier was just getting the jitters out of her system. I move my scout back in case he gets flanked by floaters, and let the lack of alien line of sight do the rest. Geez, Justin Simons, you gotta calm down. The Berserkers are gone. Everything's gonna be alright, man. Now I wait for the aliens' assault, which turns out really isn't anything. Again, the aliens decided not to move when I couldn't see them, which is good for me. All I have to do now is throw a battle scanner and get sight on them for another sniper shot. Well, let's just hope this one isn't blocked by trees. Oh, lucky me, I've got sight on both. Which one is more vulnerable? Well, not really either, but I can't say no to a shot against the one with 3 health left, and it pays off. Now, with only 1 floater left, I make a very bold and stupid move. Probably the second biggest mistake this mission, if you don't want to call anything else I've done a mistake. I move my engineer up thinking he's the concealment scout, and this would have made sense if he were actually the concealment scout, but this move doesn't make any sense, and now I just put my engineer in sight of a floater, which is not what you want. So now, again, we go into damage control mode, and run Black Monk up to take the hit or take the floater out, depending on how he's feeling today. Luckily for us, he feels like taking the floater out, which means all the contact aside from the outsider is taken care of to our knowledge. And it turns out our knowledge is very correct. We'd like to take this break to remind you that Long War Semi-Qualified Ironman Impossible is brought to you by ALMAOs. ALMAOs, the favorite cereal of the uber ethereal. With the squad in position literally all around the UFO, we find ourselves ready to take on the outsider. Now, my hope is that I am going to be able to capture the outsider, but that does heavily depend on where he runs, and on another factor I forgot to consider. There are a couple rules I have for capturing outsiders now, stemming from a kind of botched attempt I had a few episodes back. Basically, you need 2 things. 1, you need suppression. You need something for the outsider to shoot at that's not your guy trying to capture him at close range. The second thing you need is one of 2 things. You either need smoke on your suppressor, or you need a flashbang on the outsider. Unfortunately, my smoke is also on my only person who can suppress the outsider because he didn't run into range of my gunner. I also would probably not want to suppress with the gunner anyway because he's so squishy right now. So it's this that makes me realize that I'm not going to be able to capture this outsider, so instead, I decide I have to kill it. If I'd brought flashbangs or more smokes, this could be different, but unfortunately, it's not. Dale Watson moves in to take the final shot against the outsider and bring this mission to an end once and for all. Very nice shot, Dale.
Chalk up another one.
Bradford tells us that another one gets chalked up, and another 8 soldiers come home not in a box. Unfortunately for Justin Simons, he took a rather large hit. But hey, everybody's alive. I mean, some may have some serious damage, but they're all alive, and some even got promotions. Most importantly, my Rocketeer I've had since the beginning, Courtney Maseko. She's finally reached Master Sergeant, and with the high aim and perks she already has, Javelin Rockets is a clear choice. My next promotion is also very clear. As a damage-dealing crit infantry, David Rice gets Ranger, without a doubt. My final soldier with a promotion, Heather Williams, is an Overwatch infantry, which makes her choice also very clear. She gets Sentinel, which means she gets 2 kind of high accuracy shots depending on the enemy she's shooting at on Overwatch. We checked the supplies we brought in and realized that our Gatling laser absolutely most definitely got damaged. And I don't have the money to actually repair it because I'm poor, because this is Ironman Impossible. And I don't have xenological remedies or any other income boosting bonuses, so I'm forced to sell a few corpses and things just to get enough money to repair that auto laser. We scan on into the future, and we get a council communication telling us the aliens have gone bomb crazy yet again. For these missions, an experienced squad is a necessity, and a mobile one at that. So, I hope you'll join me next time for Operation whatever the operation happens to be called. But at this point, I'd like to talk about the way this video is edited. I'm gonna tell you straight up, I absolutely understand why Beagle Rush stopped doing his Ironman Impossible series. This takes time. This takes at least twice the time I normally put into my Ironman Impossible videos, and it makes a lot of sense. There's post-commentary, editing, you have to make sure everything is really tight and funny, and it's just a lot of work. So don't expect this to happen all the time, but maybe it might happen some of the time, because if it happens all the time, I'm not going to finish this campaign before XCOM 2. But I'll try to keep it interesting for you all. And I thank you a lot for watching. This video was a lot of work, and I hope you think it paid off. So tell me what you think. If you want to see more of this, let me know. And thanks for watching, I really appreciate it. Hopefully I'll see you next time. Later.